Bum, ba-na-na-ba. That's the introduction.
Nice. Welcome.
To the next episode of the Marshall Street podcast. Welcome. We got a guest. Hey, it's
Introduce
Terence.
yourself, Terence.
I'm Terence Stevens. I'm in the band Suspiria. We're fresh off the boat. New band in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Well, round of applause. Golf clap.
Golf claps for me.
Where's me
Yeah,
wine?
Thank you.
All right. Today we're talking about bands. The bands we've played in. Kind of just a bit of a history about everyone sitting on the couch. Stu?
So, I've been in many, many bands in my time. Only a couple that I want to really talk about. But I don't know. What do you want to know? Like, what's the idea
Just go
behind
through. Who was
this?
the first band you were? What was the first band you were in? How
The
did you guys
first
form?
band I was in was called Safety Last. And that was myself, Matty Zoll, Darren, and Benny Saunders.
What? Darren Nickel?
Absolutely.
No way. What was his role in the band?
He slapped the beers, man.
Slap the BS.
He slapped the beers,
D.
man.
Nickel. Fuck, so that's basically the DYE with Saunders in another band.
And me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not you.
And
So
not me.
nothing like the DYE.
Correct.
Yeah, so that was good. We wrote a few songs, a couple of which carried over to Rumour Has It, which saw the change of Darren becoming RZA, and my brother was lead vocalist.
Rizzo.
Yeah.
I've only met that man once. I've heard so much about this person though.
Yeah. He's seen
Good
some
old Riz.
things.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Terence, what was your first band?
My first band, I guess, my first band was called Deadfall. It was a band that came out of just high school, just a bunch of mates playing together. It started as a cover
Did you
band.
go to high school here or were you from the States?
No, I'm not from the States. I just got, the accent's a long story. It's just like a hand-me-down, you know, and your brother's like, oh, I hate these pants. You can have them. Oh, thanks. Yeah. I guess I'll hate them too. No.
That, but my whole life.
Pretty much. But yeah, no, I went to high school in just Templestowe, but yeah, my first band was called Deadfall. It originally was called Pizza Foot though. Good name,
That's a
right?
foot.
Yeah,
It
that's a
was
shit
de-
name.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's
a good shit name.
shit name.
It's definitely a
Tremendously
real great
bad.
shit name. Yeah. Yeah. Nah, but
What sort of music was it?
it was kind of like, I don't know, it's like, I'd like to call it melodic hardcore, where it was like more melody but pushing heavy music, but
Yep.
not quite breakdown kind
Okay.
of stuff. Yeah,
I'm with
yeah,
you.
that's the kind of what it was
Sweet.
like. Out of high school, straight off the bat, just like,
Nice.
Yeah.
yeah, when you're bad at playing instruments and you're like, please come to my show. Yeah.
Yep.
But
That
people
was us.
did. That was the thing.
They did, yeah. And then,
It's fucking
and then,
awesome. I
yeah.
miss those days.
Yeah. I was in one called I Lost Atlantis.
There
Oh,
were
actually-
so many Atlantis bands.
We were the first. We were the best. No, that's a lie. What was it before that? What was the one we looked up the other day? A Subtle Revenge. A Subtle
Subtle
Revenge. Which comically was referred to as a subtle failure, but, you know, you got to do these things.
Yeah. And you played guitar in that band?
Yeah, it was guitar in that. Then I Lost Atlantis was a bit more hardcore, some heavier shit. Then played guitar in that as well. And then that was really my last instrument-fueled music career before getting into hip-hop and DJing and vinyl and all that fucking world.
Sick. Davey?
I played the recorder in grade 3 and
Primary school band?
in the 2003 grade 6 Form 2 band.
And you were one of how many recordists?
22, and I got kicked out.
Is this going on you as well?
Oh no, fuck, I fucked that up.
Yeah, I thought so.
Sick. I guess what's the most memorable thing that you remember from your first band?
Fuck, I remember
Most
just...
memorable thing.
I remember everything just seemed so hard. Like, everything that wasn't involved in playing the music in that room seemed like a fucking challenge. Like, we were like, cool, we could take care of the songs we wrote. Whether they sucked or not, we didn't know. We could write our songs. But when it came to booking shows or, fuck, this is a booking agent, and what the fuck does A&R mean? And, damn, all I've heard is I want to be signed to a record label. I just remember everything else seemed like a fucking world away.
Yeah. Yeah. I think like from my first band, Rumour Has It, we I was in year 9. And we just like wrote songs. We wrote so many songs, which was sick. And we like ripped off a few bands here and there or whatever. You do that when you're in year 9 or
hell
whatever.
yeah. Still
but
do that.
I think like the coolest thing was that we had the freezer gigs. So
They
we
were
had
sick.
we had
I
McLeod
remember playing
freezer.
those, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had McLeod freezer, which was called FIAB, Frog in a Blender. That was its official title. But our first ever gig was a Battle of the Bands, which I think is a lot of local bands and young bands.
Yeah,
their first thing
same
they
as
do.
mine, yeah.
Yeah, Battle of the
I'd
Bands.
never played one. I always
Really?
wanted to play in one.
The coolest thing was we didn't get first, second, or third, which was prizes, but we got asked at that gig whether we wanted to support for amusement only. And they were so big in the local community. They were
That's
like
pretty cool,
a
yeah.
fucking awesome pop punk band that we frothed. And they sold out that gig, and it was like 200 people squashed into the McLeod YMCA like hall, which was tiny. Man, what a show!
That's sick.
And we destroyed it too. Like we weren't very good, but we had passion.
YMCA hall.
Yeah.
Is that like close to the station?
Yeah,
It's
it's
like
like right
right
around the
next to
corner.
it.
Yeah.
Right
Yeah.
around the corner, yeah. Because I remember playing the Youth Fest. There,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then they have like Fruit Bowl.
Fruit Bowl was in Eltham.
Yeah.
Fruit Bowl. I never got to play Fruit Bowl, but I went about 4 or 5 times.
There was a band, Juliet's End, who used to
Yep.
always play with Josh Collard.
No.
Okay, he was the drummer for them. Just a dude who was always
I
in
remember the
scene.
name of the band.
Yeah, they were just always
Yeah.
in the scene. Like, they all played in, like, fucking 3 or 4 bands. And whenever you hear, like, oh, man, we're going to this dude, like, this guy's gig, it was always, like, this guy, Juliet's End, or fucking this dude, Josh Collard, was all just dudes who hung around the scene
Yeah, yeah.
and were just fucking always around.
Yep. Yeah, there was always those people. There's one dude, his name's Cohen, and he was always in like so many bands. If you went to Fruit Bowl, if you went to like Frog in a Blender or any of the local freezer gigs, you would know Cohen. But he played in hundreds of bands. I played in a band with him once. He was just the guy that was in all those bands, and there was always one of those dudes in every scene.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you guys had one.
What was your view on it, Davey? Like, was there, as someone who wasn't in a band, did you have buddies who were always in bands? And if so, how did you feel about that band? Because we only know it from being in the band, and a lot of the time when you're starting out, you're fucking shit.
I know
what's your
tons of
friends'
people in bands.
perception?
I'm like the only non-musical person in my friendship group. I know so many people in bands, and like, you just kind of get sick of hearing them talk about it, to be honest.
Can you differentiate when a band's shit and when they're
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah, for sure.
'Cause when you're
I
in
know
it, you're not
nothing.
sure.
I like know nothing when it comes down to like the actual skill and like passion required to
Yeah.
be in a band dynamic. But I can very easily tell if someone else doesn't have that.
'Kay.
If you know what I mean. Like when they're talking about their band, I can tell that they are just not at all involved
Right.
in like or
What about-
interested in extending it. You know.
Like, what are some memorable things for you when you were younger, going and seeing your friends' bands play? Like, what was like did you have something that there was like a baseline standard of like whether they were good or not?
I don't know if I could say if they were good or not. Like
Okay.
I don't know if
Well,
I.
what made it so for you?
I
as
liked
not a-
it
as
just
a
because they were my
non-musician?
mates on
Okay.
stage. I was
Yeah.
like, this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there's that, and that is a huge factor when it comes to
When
people
you're
that
young,
aren't
yeah,
in
of
the
course,
circle.
yeah.
Plus, like the whole cool thing of like I know the band. It's like I know the DJ, but
Yeah.
I find that
Yeah.
fucking better when you know the band.
fucking oath.
Yeah. This is 4 people. Not
So
one.
that was cool. Yeah, exactly. So that was cool, but then there was definitely some stuff where like if you go back to some of our older podcasts, we were talking about like confidence on stage and like, you know, just like, you know, how you and Zal had that thing when you were doing your emceeing. Oh no, you were doing the thing where you would talk about something in the city and something that happened that day.
Yep.
Right? And you had that keyed up for when something would happen or after this track, that's what we do. If you don't plan that stuff, it's immediately obvious. And I'm like good
Yeah.
friends with these people, and I was like, wow, it looks so awkward
You
up
get
there.
that-
'cause
you
have
get that
no
secondhand
idea.
awkwardness.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that
just
cringe.
like
cringe,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that a lot for inexperienced bands.
Yes,
Yeah,
and that's the
I
thing.
get
Like,
that.
it's so interesting because once you're in it, I think deep down on a certain level, you know that these cringe moments happen or that something's not quite where it should be. But just because you're emotionally invested and you're tied into the band, sometimes it's easy to lie to yourself and be like, oh man, nah, it's good. When really it's that if you take someone else's perspective, you can look at it and just be like, oh, fuck, that was bad.
Like, remain nameless, obviously, because I still want to have
That's a cool
friends.
band.
That's a
name?
fuck. I thought that was a band. That's a sick band
Remain
name.
Nameless, that's
Remain
good.
Nameless.
I've never thought of that before.
That's a really good band name.
Yeah, it's my band. Don't worry about it.
It's your first attempt at
They would
introducing
do
it to
this
the
thing
public.
where the two guitarists would go up, and like big shows have done it, where the two guitarists go up and they like get like right up in each other and fucking play. I don't know, like
Battling?
battling stuff.
Like soloing kind of
Yeah,
shit.
and
Touching guitar dicks.
Yeah,
There's
like
always,
yeah.
Is there always like one that's really good at guitar, and the other one's like pretty average? But
Yeah,
he's like
kind
trying
of.
to keep up. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
That's me. Yeah.
And they were doing,
that was me as well.
And it's like doom, doom, doom,
and they were
doom,
doing
guitar.
stuff, and they got
I like guitar.
they got too close and like ran their fucking hands into each other and just like fucked it completely.
I
And
love it.
Really?
yeah, because they were like doing the thing, like getting close, and they just like went chunk and like
Oh, man.
and just went dead silent for like a second. And
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was bad.
Yeah, that's bad.
Even like that, like being able to come back from, we'll call it live fuck ups. Like we had our fucking share in DYE. We played once at Sydney Mire and the PA caught fire side of stage, like smoke and shit coming out. All of Sydney Mire lost power. It's like there's a certain element of knowing how to deal with live malfunctions
Yeah, I
that
get
I think
that.
is so crucial, man. And you don't learn them until it happens. Like you can't plan for them. You just got to learn how to roll with the punches.
There's some things that just happen, and you just like, or even when you're a young band. When I was like 16 playing gigs when I was in my first band, the live fuck ups, man. Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'd
just
be
happens.
like that bass player was like, let's go punch a few cones before we go on stage. We've got an hour, and then you look at it, we punched maybe. It was more than a few. You have 5 minutes. You're like, oh shit. We're gonna run back. It was like Diamond Creek Festival or something. Or just like, what are we doing? We're going on before the fireworks. Like the crowd's pouring. You're like, oh no. Oh no.
We've made a big mistake.
We start playing the first song, and straight up, as soon as we get to the chorus, I hear the bass player playing the verse during the chorus, and I'm like,
Yeah.
red-eyed, just not
Not with
present.
it.
The lights are on,
with
but no
it,
one's
but with
home.
it enough to know that ain't right. that
But
whatever
I don't know
that-
how to fix
the
it.
sound
But it's
that's
not right.
I can't fix that. I can't yell at him. I'm trying to concentrate on two things at once. It's not good.
I
Yeah.
reckon Matty Zoll was telling me a story of back in the day when he was playing in some fucking band. And he had the nickname Stoner, which I think came from Latrobe hockey. I think Robbo Diff gave him that nickname. But he was telling me there's this one time, and if Zoll, you're watching, can you correct me on this or let me know if I was right? There was one show when he was like, nah, I don't take the stage unless I've smoked fucking so many fucking cones. So they're like, I was telling him, he was like, nah, I need to punch these fucking cones. So he ducked off to like the car, had a compression session, smashed them back, and
Oh
then
my
got on.
god.
I couldn't do that. Not anymore.
I struggle to play well if I've had like, if I'm over tipsy. Like if I can tell I'm drunk, there's bad feels coming up. Like
Yeah.
get ready for me doing something out of time. But
Yeah,
I've played
fair.
stoned once or twice. You can't focus. I would never be able to do it.
All I have to do is just warm up. Then I'm okay. But
Yeah.
aside from that, it's like, the one thing that one of my friends told me when I was younger is just like, it's the dumbest advice I've ever heard. When you get stoned, everything's harder, which means if you actually do it, then you get better at doing it because it was harder to do.
All right, so you're like setting yourself up. It's like practicing with heavier drumsticks so that when you play
I'm
the
like,
light ones.
Yeah.
That makes sense in a stupid way.
So what you're saying is this is good for me.
It's like band working out. Yeah, well, we used to roll by the motto that practice the way you play. So all our rehearsals, we would fucking we would roll into rehearsals with like fucking a slab and like a fucking ounce of green and just fucking blaze. We'd be high as fuck. We'd be
God.
shit faced. But that was how we played live.
Yeah.
So we were used to it. Like it was just it.
Yeah.
I
we
could do
rehearsed
that as a
fucking high.
guitarist, yeah, absolutely as
I
a
wouldn't.
guitarist. Or anything else aside from vocals, nah.
Yeah.
But doing like guitar and vocals, the guitar is fine. It's just
Vocals hard. Once you've had any
being
alcohol.
stoned
yeah.
and then drinking, and it's like that's
Remembering
like,
lyrics.
And even your energy's off.
Oh,
like your
yeah,
live energy.
yeah.
Like we saw Between You and Me and Baker's Eddie on the weekend. And fuck, Between You and Me, they are fucking sick live. But that lead singer's energy, like I was watching, I'm like, fuck, dude, this guy's just got it. Like those, you watch and you're like, fuck, man, he's just got every ounce of it. He's fucking out of control.
Yep. Can control a crowd.
Oh, yeah.
So what do you guys reckon is the hardest thing for young bands? Like whether that's booking shows,
Naming your
writing music, naming your band. That's
I reckon we
such
spend-
a good
think
part of it.
we
But,
spend
that's an
so
enjoyable
much
part.
more time
Yeah.
than
But
we
let's
should.
look at professional things.
Okay, I reckon personally, I think the hardest thing is finding your sound, because it's like you get into a band when you're young. You're like, oh, I love all these bands. I want to sound like them, and them. But what do I do? But then you don't realize that you don't have to sound like that band or that band
Yeah.
or that band. You need to take a multitude of influences.
So you reckon a lot of
Combine them
people
together.
like have
Yeah,
that
yeah.
same ideology about
Well,
sounding like
I
them?
think so, and I don't know so from being in heaps of bands. I know so from interviewing heaps of musicians that wanted to be in bands that I was in, and they were like, "Yeah, I have these kind of influences. I want to kind of play in a metalcore band. I want
Yep.
to play in a grindcore band. I want to play in a hardcore
Yeah.
band. I want to play in like a heavy band
Yep.
in this specific genre." And everyone wants to be genre specific, but it's like, if you want to do that, why aren't you playing in a cover band? Why don't you just be a
good point.
Bring
It's
Me
a
the
fucking
Horizon
great point.
cover band?
Yeah,
Why
it's a
do
great
you
point.
want to play a band that sounds exactly like
Like
them?
someone else, yeah.
Yep.
They've already done that. Like, I get you, they might be your favorite band and you might really emotionally connect to the music. So maybe take the drum influence if you're a drummer from that band, or the guitar influence, or the
Yeah,
vocal influence.
100%.
Apply it to different music. That's how you create original music. As
really
opposed
good point.
to just-
Great point.
Yeah, exactly.
I think even the Beatles brought their influences to the table when they were, and that was four different people with four different influences that come together to create a specific sound. So it's a great point. Like, I think absolutely get influence from people, try and emulate how people do things, but at the end of the day, you're you, and you can never play the same way as someone else. You can never sound the same way as someone else.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can be similar, yeah, like, and you can be pretty damn close, but that doesn't mean it's good either.
Yeah.
And it's what we've kind of been talking about with a lot of bands coming through, trying to find their sound. It's like, but you're you, and you've got your own experiences, and you've got your own
Yeah.
influences. Bring it to the table,
Yep.
but at the end of the day, you're going to sound the way that you sound. So, look, and I think it's probably a really important point, and it's like things that teenagers think about is how can I be like this person?
Yeah, and
So,
it's also hard
yeah.
at that point in your life. Like, I mean, we're talking, I was like 16, 17 when we were playing these bands. Like, when you don't really know who you are as a person, it's fucking so hard to have the self-confidence and fucking esteem to be like, okay, cool, I'm just gonna take an influence from this and I'm gonna put my own perspective on it and I'm gonna walk up like I know what that's worth at the table. Like, I think that comes through kind of life experiences. But like when you're younger, it's super hard to know who the fuck you are. Like until you've gone through life and you can be like that, it's hard to be like, right, I'm confident and I back myself in.
I think that's why bands that were not every band obviously, but bands that were like young and managed to get famous really quickly, they had a certain sound and their sound changed and then they fizzled out.
Look at Sonny Moore from First to Last.
Silverchair. They're a good example. Silverchair. Think about their first album, real like heavy grungy.
Yep.
Yep.
Second
Then
album,
second album, heavy grungy, but they had borderline going
New
on a few
metal.
soft songs here and there.
Yeah.
And then their third album just got weird. And then
I love it.
I love
Neon
it.
Ballroom
Yeah,
is
Neon
one of
Ballroom
the
was
best
sick.
albums ever.
Yeah. A few bloody good songs on that one. And then they just like kind of after that, Diorama and then Young Modern, was it?
Yeah.
They fizzled out and then just kind of
Yeah.
dissipated.
I don't think that they fizzled out in that sense. I think it's more
musically fizzled out, not necessarily in popularity, because they stayed pretty
yeah,
big
but
for
then
whole
they've got
career.
Straight Lines, which is one of the best.
Oh
songs
yeah,
they've
yeah,
ever
they got
written,
on that
which is on
ad.
the
Those
last
ads
album.
for like Supernatural. I remember on TV
Yeah.
like years ago. It was just like on
So,
Straight Lines.
Channel
Just,
10.
yeah.
I think in that case, that's someone that's gone through growing up in the spotlight.
Yeah, which is
And being
Yeah.
unable to deal with it. Like
Imagine
he
that.
went through anorexia because of his self-esteem issues.
Yeah,
Being famous when you're young,
When you're young.
and not knowing what to focus on. Do you focus on your
Yeah.
schooling? Do you focus on your music? Luckily, they were able to. They were one band that I remember. Them, Hanson, they were able to take school teachers on tour with them and study while they were on tour, which is fucking really cool. Like,
I didn't even know
yeah,
that.
yeah. But I mean, like that to me is an example of someone that finds themselves later in life, probably
I
because of
agree,
the
yeah.
experiences that they went
Yeah,
through.
I agree.
And it's
Yeah.
not necessarily fizzling out. It's probably just a lack of cohesion between the band because as you get older, you realize that you're into different things and you start to find yourself. and all
Yeah,
that
because
sort
they
of thing.
hadn't. They were so young when they started. Then they had so many years of being in that band together.
Chris,
That-
the bassist,
that
didn't
does
know how to
make
play
sense.
bass before
Yeah.
they started.
Yeah, that's.
That 30
Similar
Seconds to
thing.
Mars documentary about
haven't seen
how
it. Yeah, it's
ridiculously fucked they got in their contract.
yeah,
Oh,
Artifact.
Unbelievable.
it's
Great movie.
ridiculous.
I haven't seen it. I've
Well,
heard about
definitely
that
worth
contract.
watching.
Right.
If like you've heard about like how like labels fuck
It's a
over bands,
360
blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
It's like that is the go-to documentary.
They couldn't exit their contract.
Yeah, and they owed money. Like
Yeah,
they're
a lot
making
of
these
bands
like
do.
huge
Like
tours
Jared,
and
Jared
stuff.
Leto made heaps of money from acting prior.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
in Requiem for a Dream. Fight
Yeah,
Club.
yeah, exactly. He was in heaps of big movies, and like the record label fucked them up.
Yeah.
Really, really milked them for everything they were worth, and he was like keeping the band afloat with the money that he made from acting. Like, yeah,
Which if it was a 360
Brothers
deal,
just
that would
riding
take-
on his coattails.
pretty much, yeah.
But even a lot of bands lose money from signing. Like a lot of bands not only don't make money, but actively fucking
Bad
lose
decision.
it.
Which is funny for someone who would have been around contracts
Yeah.
in his
In
life.
the entertainment industry.
Like,
Well, who knows?
like surely his like lawyer would have been like, it's probably not a good thing
Yeah.
for you guys to sign. I think they
No.
talk about it. I can't remember it. I saw
Yeah.
it probably about 5 years ago. I can't remember.
Yeah.
right.
What do you remember as being the funnest thing about being in a band when you're a teenager?
Fuck jamming. We used to jam at this fucking
jamming,
old
yeah.
Masonic Hall in Heidelberg, opposite Davy's Spiritual Home, the fucking KFC there.
I know the place.
Yeah, that Masonic Hall. One of our buddies, his old man had it. For some reason we had access to it. So like every fucking Friday we'd go there. Huge, like multi-level monster hall. We'd bring all our gear there to just jam as loud as you want. We'd fucking go across the road to KFC, get a feed. You could smoke inside. Like it was literally Fridays. You're like, fucking, this is the best. We'd go there.
That sounds amazing.
It was, and it was
yeah.
like abandoned. So like there was old fire extinguishers there. If you wanted to set up a fire extinguisher and fucking fly down the hallway in like a wheelie chair, like you just did it. I think it used to be a dry cleaner. So there's
Oh
the
my
big
God.
hooks going around. At one point, you just like do whatever the fuck you want.
That's
That's
awesome.
sick. It reminds me of the studio that I used to jam at with Deadfall when I was a couple of years ago, actually. Yeah, it was like this, just some back alley studio in Croydon. Just like just a couple blocks around from the station. It was just like this like back alley, like a couple of random factories after a bunch of houses. It was so weird. You'd like pull in sometimes, there'd be like a bunch of people sitting around a fire pit in this like industrial lot, and there'd be like a bunch of like Mrs. Skylines and Sylvia's sitting there, and you're like, is there a fucking
Where am
Jamie
I?
Anthony?
Yeah.
Where the
Are
fuck
they
am
filming
I?
Fast
What
and
is
the
it?
Furious?
Yeah, Fast and Furious 3. Like, what's going on?
Find a new way home, Pizza Boy. Road's closed.
Yeah.
What's your what was your favorite thing about being in a band when you were younger?
Oh,
How old are you, by the way?
I'm
Yeah.
only 21. I've
You're 21.
literally been in 2 bands. At
I'm
this
only
point.
When did you
23,
start?
so, yeah.
He's lying.
When did I
When did you start?
When I start like being in bands, probably 16, 17.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like
yeah.
those first bands, like what was like the thing that stuck out to you that made you go, fuck, I love being in a band?
It was definitely playing the gigs and then
Yep.
slowly starting to build an audience.
Cool.
It was, the first gig was shit. It was always going to be shit. It was like you're so nervous that you forgot to, I don't know, it could be anything. You
Yeah.
forgot to tune your guitar.
Yeah. Oh, everyone
Or the
forgets.
lead guitar.
Oh, yeah.
Or no matter if you tuned it.
Someone doesn't know that they should tune a guitar. Is
Not even then, it's like you
I don't think you have to
restrung
tune
it, yeah.
guitars. They'll just hold
Yeah.
their tuning, man.
Yeah,
Come on.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was in tune at practice. That's fine.
Yeah, or it's like you restrung your guitar. You didn't know you had to stretch your strings because
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
just a stupid kid and you don't know.
David, did you know you have to
Wow.
stretch your strings after you restring it?
it's important to stretch before any exercise.
What about you, Stu? What fucking drew you to bands, your first bands?
Well, I always loved music, but the things that I loved about being in a band when I was younger, one, the hangs was like aside from actually practicing music, like getting to hang out and just talk about music. Then there was songwriting. I've always loved songwriting. When I was younger, like we just wanted to emulate and play the fastest style of punk rock. Like we just wanted to be like Pennywise and NoFX and stuff. As fast as you could play, let's play that. And that was a lot of fun and tiring, but fuck, I was fit back then. I don't know.
You're getting pretty fit again now.
Getting fitter, but anyway. And getting gigs. Like when you landed a gig, the lead up to that gig was just like, oh man, like the best feeling of like, fuck, we're playing a gig today. Like it was the best. I can't even imagine getting that excited today for anything. Like,
but you're scene. I want to bring you back to this because I think this is fucking a huge point. The scene that you were in playing that band, or in like early days, the scene that you guys created and how you guys pushed each other up, I think is a fucking huge thing.
Yeah.
I want to bring back to that after. I think what brought me into a band, or the shit that I liked, was the hangs. Hanging out with people who enjoyed the music that you liked. Because I think...
Because you couldn't do it at high school. Like
the rest of the people didn't really like
give a
it.
shit. Yeah, they made funny and stuff.
Yeah, so being able to hang out with dudes who like that music and you can talk about it and it was fucking fun, that was what I liked.
I gotta say that at high school though, for my year 12 assembly, I actually covered a Deftones song and a Green Day song and played it in front of the whole school while wearing a clown makeup, this evil clown makeup, and I had
you wouldn't have gotten your ass handed to you at all.
My older sister did a fucking like a little plasty around my neck. There was a slit throat, and it was like half hanging off at that point. So I was singing, and it looked like there was this disgusting like thing. Yeah,
Billy Joel or Billy Joe?
Billy Joe.
Billy Joel. I don't think he did that.
No,
I had this nasty like half my neck hanging off, and I'm like singing this like did Change by the Deftones.
Yeah, big track.
And then I did. I also did Sex Tape off Dynamite.
Don't know it.
You don't know? It's like this like real big atmospheric track, which I'm assuming is about having sex in space, because that's what the lyrics sound like, which is weird as fuck, but is cool and atmospheric. So I was like, I'm going to sing this for year 12 assembly because they can't tell me not to.
So that's sort of tapped into something that I think is actually really important. And like you're kind of all dancing around the same thing of like the hangs, the being with the guys that's like the same music as you guys, being into the same shit. It wasn't just the music, because like we like this music so much that we want to play it, we want to be around this culture. Mm-hmm. It's like I realized it like way late. I realized this like fact of life maybe like halfway through university, which is no one gives a fuck. Just do what you like doing. And that makes you cool. Like, there's no point trying to be cool. Yeah. Do what you like doing, and you'll surround yourself with people that think that you're cool, because you're all into the same thing.
Being comfortable with yourself.
So, like, I never did the band thing. I never did like anything too out there. I was pretty like quiet and reserved at school, except I would yell at everyone a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, like halfway through uni, I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna stream, and because I like streaming and I like YouTube and I like that stuff. And like, so like, if anyone's listening out there, you want to fucking hit that stuff that you like doing, because
100%. And then even like when me and Dave have known each other for ages, and like seeing him and how much he loves streaming, and then when I was getting into streaming and doing this sort of shit, it's like, fuck, you want to surround yourself about people who enjoy that and what they're doing. So it's 100%, yeah. But again, it comes back, fuck. It's hard to be comfortable in your own skin and yourself.
High school's
so
tough.
Yeah.
You get
Dress up as like a clown with a slit throat.
Yeah.
How'd that go down, man?
Oh, okay. I look back and I'm like, what the fuck was I doing? It's just like, I guess I just gave less of a shit than anyone else.
I think when you're in high school,
yeah.
there's an element of wanting to impress at the same time.
Yeah.
And
dress to impress.
I feel like with that's a statement, right? Like that's something you're saying to everyone else that doesn't get it. This is who I am, and to have the balls to do that is impressive. You can have backlash from from anything, but I would say that if you have confidence in, you go, this is what I'm interested in, this is what I do. Kids are the best at that, man. Adults don't do that, right? Like, unless they have kind of gotten to a stage where they've been doing it for a long time. Generally speaking, a lot of adults get a little bit too self-aware or scared, or like,
the world's jaded them. They're done with it.
So yeah, I think kids are like, you know, it's cool. It's like it's so
they're innocent.
Yeah, you just there's this naivety about it.
Yeah.
That you go, I don't give a fuck what anyone thinks. I'm gonna do it.
I'm gonna do it. Yeah.
Like, that's hard, man. Like that, and you know that shit's gonna come back to you in some way. Like, I used to wear like the whole like long t-shirt under the short t-shirt baseball style, and no one else in my high school did it.
It's
and
a great look.
They knew I liked
I'm gonna bring it back.
Classic.
They knew I listened to punk rock, and I used to get shit so bad. I used to get teased so often. But
I don't understand.
I was so like,
Everyone listen to punk
oh,
rock.
tell me about it.
No, I never got teased, but I think it's because when I was in high school, it was just like a different. I don't know. It was a different like atmosphere because there's obviously I'm like
Maybe
that
because
much younger,
emo was like in the forefront back then.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. But it was like I was
Not
at this
for me.
point. I actually played original songs in front of like my whole school. We had like another school come to
That's
my
pretty dope.
school,
Just as a school to let you.
Templestowe College. It was Templestowe College.
Templestowe
They're
College,
they're very progressive.
Yeah, they got a bit
Yeah,
progressive,
yeah.
but the principal they had at the time, Peter the Hut. Yeah.
But he like, I remember seeing something on a current affairs show or something like that.
Yeah.
Templestowe was featured, and they have this really unique. But they follow kind of like the Eastern, or not Eastern, the Northern Europe.
They started getting into that when I was going to that school. So it was
Yeah.
like the new principal that introduced a
Can you
bunch
tell
of
us
new
about
ideas.
it? Like,
Yeah, I'm fucking interested.
Well, it's kind of hard to say because like I transferred during year 9 into this new school, and there was this new principal that was implementing all these different ideas, trying to change the school because the school had a really bad reputation from like just like the kids that were going to it, not necessarily just the kids, but it's just like how they were being treated and like, you know, the attitudes that not just the teachers and the students had, but it was just like a big messy fuck up of a school prior to this principal coming in. They used to have, there was like schoolyard fights and everything all the time, but when I came into the school, it was just like they were interviewing people and they were only letting certain people, they'd interview them like very in depth to get them into the school and be like, oh, what do you want? Like, kind of like pretty much dig deep to understand the person before they let them in, as opposed to just like, oh, you want to go to our school? Cool. Please, can we have some money? And then we actually think your kid's real cool. Like, just give us money and he'll be even cooler. But yeah.
so what were some of the kind of policies and shit? Because I remember watching it on telly. Didn't they have a thing where it was like you had your own time to focus on things that you were passionate about? Wasn't there like, you know, you'd have like a certain element of like free time?
Kind of. They started implementing that just after I'd left.
Okay.
Actually, so
Damn,
it was
that
like
sounds
I
pretty
was during like
that-
the period of time when they were kind of implementing and changing over the whole school system.
Because I remember.
Explain.
Well, I remember from what I saw, it was a whole thing of like, we understand that every child is different and has their own passions and has their things that they're interested in. So, for example, if you're interested in music and you know you don't find the need in studying science or maths or something like that, it's like, we're going to give you this time to dedicate to the thing that you're passionate about. So it might be rehearsing music or something like that. I could be wrong, but I remember that's what
it was kind of like that, but not as much as when I was there. When I was there, the ironic thing is I kind of did that anyways.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I was like, I have this gig coming up, and I would like, sometimes I'd take a period off.
Yeah.
By like just like staying in the music room and rehearsing the whole like period instead of going to the class kind of thing. But they started more focusing on individual learning later
That's
on.
super cool.
Because
Right,
they're
that
kind
is
of like
fucking
changing
cool.
focus of the school, because they're like, we're more about like, what's this kid's strength? What do they want to do? What do they want to do with their life? Like, as opposed to just like focusing on academic schools and just English, maths, and like
Which the schooling system
science.
is fucking bananas
Yeah.
how backwards it is. Like, we could do a whole fucking talk on that. Like, the fact that they just cram
Absolutely,
people
yeah.
in on, like, they go,
There's that classic cartoon of, it's like they have a giraffe, an elephant, a monkey, and it's like, hey, you all need to climb this rope and get to the top. It's
Yeah.
like, how can you expect an elephant to climb a rope? It's like
He's a big boy. Yeah.
yeah.
Just imagine you Sunday morning reading that, like looking at that cartoon in the paper, just going, never mentioning it again until now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then even like the fact that it's like, all right, these are the people who were born in the year you're all expected to be at the same mental level just because you were fucking manufactured in the same fucking year. It's like the whole system's fucking backwards. But
right.
we can get into that another time. I'm getting your fucking Davies thoughts.
On what? Which bit?
Anything.
What? Okay, when you hear the word or the words young band or local band, what does that bring to mind? And is that good or bad?
At the moment, young local band I think is a good thing, but I don't think it used to be a good thing. I think when I was young and it was like young local band, I'm like, well, I'm a fucking retarded 17-year-old kid. Like,
So what do you mean?
If they're
Like,
even real close to my age, then these guys must suck.
do you think that that's like where you're at now and your understanding of what
My
it is to be a young
understanding
music?
of it now is that it's not really about any individual band. It's about a group of bands or a scene, you know what I mean? And that will create the correct environment for a band to like make a giant thing of it. So it won't just be, oh, well, like there's this local band and there was no music scene around them and they killed it and now everyone loves them and they're superstars. It's like every, like, I don't know, notable band came from kind of a
local
crucible
scene.
of all the scenes, right?
100%.
So
Doesn't matter
I'm
what
exci-
style of music.
Yeah, I'm excited for like when I hear young local band, it's like I want to hear of 10 young local bands because that means you know something's going on. And
So how did
come out
that
of it.
change to when you were younger? Like when you thought about that when you were young, you said that you thought it was kind of a negative thing. What did it mean to you back then?
Because I was always going to like a few of my friends' gigs and it was like at the YMCA or the local town hall
Yeah.
and it sucked balls.
But that's what I mean. that's what I'm talking about of a young local band.
Yeah, well, like back then, I don't know. I went through school apparently a fucking lifetime ago because now we've changed the whole system. Apparently, like, I thought it was pretty recently.
No, I don't. Yeah, I mean,
Well, I went to school during a period where like the music you listen to during like what I would describe as the how big is your iTunes library phase.
Yep.
Remember that shit?
Yep.
It
I'm
like
the biggest one.
How
I
you,
did.
you
I had
would
40,000 songs.
you would
I
measure
like
your
4 million.
dick according to how many songs you had on your computer, and that was like how.
I got a story.
Yeah.
So I had a 160 gig classic iPod, filled it with just music. No podcasts, no video clips, none of that. Just music, 40,000 songs. Plugged it in at TAFE, even though I had the do not automatically sync checklist selected, it wiped my iPod at TAFE. It said syncing, and I was like, no! Unplugged it, it had wiped the whole fucking thing. I was so mad. Trav will tell ya, because he was there. It was in one of the it was in the computer lab. I was so mad that I went home and I was like, I can't deal with this. I can't. This is my fucking music. Like, I can't deal with this being wiped.
Yeah.
And then I went
Wow.
home, and from then on, it had corrupted the hard drive, and it would only allow 4 gig of music to be loaded onto it.
Oh, because you yanked it. Oh god.
That is
Yeah.
so
It's brutal.
shit.
It was fucking brutal.
That
sucks.
is brutal.
But yeah, so
Actually, I'm going to bring that story up again. We're going to have Trav on the podcast, I think, in the near future. I want to bring
Yeah.
that story up. That'll be really funny for me to...
I'll thoroughly
To relive my heartache.
Yeah, exactly. No,
But
yeah,
actually,
you're
I
a
want to
good
go back.
friend.
I want to go back. You mentioned this at Saturday or Sunday night at the gig about when you guys back in the day were organising gigs with each other. This is with Coach.
Yeah.
Like in that scene, walk us through that, because I thought when you were saying that to him and bringing back those memories of you playing the band, I got this real sense of fuck.
Camaraderie.
This is when genres and these bands looked after each other, and that was something that didn't happen in hip hop. Like that, it did not happen in the hip hop scene. Everyone was very much for themselves, like as an MC or as an artist, and I think it's fucking super dope. Walk us through that.
Okay, so this would have been when I was in the Spin Set. So I was in that from 2008-ish, 2009. I left that band in about 2012, I think, 2013 probably. Essentially, when we first started, there was a little bit of that. It was kind of still every band for themselves because we didn't really know each other. But it was really cool because there was probably 10 or so bands that all started around the same time. There was like Somerset Avenue, My Favorite Accident, Raise the Stakes, The Playbook, fucking all these bands, Perfect Fit. There was heaps of bands, and we all started at the same time. So naturally, we would play together at different gigs, but we would then organise our own gigs
Can we get that
with
up?
each other.
Is there a way to get that up on the screen, Davey?
On this, yeah, it's up there.
So we started to meet each other. We'd just book gigs because that's what you did or whatever. It's still the same these days, but you know, for example, the Spin Set's first EP release. No, not even. Our first gig back with the new lineup. We became a 5-piece, and then we had My Favorite Accident, Raise the Stakes, and what were their names? God damn, I hate that I forget. But anyway, we had this gig, and it was so awesome. And from then on, it was kind of just like a snowball. Because we all hung out at this gig, we just became mates. We would always just book each other on every gig that we had. It was just like all of the bands, because we were all into the same music, we would all go to each other's shows, we would all hang out. There was a little bit of jealousy there when other bands, like before I was in the Playbook, when the Playbook first started, they had the best work ethic, so they would just email promoters and just play every gig that they could. They would get a lot of gigs at Bang because they knew the bookers there, and they just kept getting support. All hang out together and just keep booking gigs. I don't know.
And you could feel it. You could really feel it. Because I went to one gig. Where was it at?
That was at John Curtin. And that was our EP launch.
Nah, before that there was another one.
That was the one that you came to.
Okay, well, but you could really sense it, that all the bands appreciated other bands being there. They looked out for the other bands. Like if
We all
they
got involved. We sang each other's songs.
like if there was a chance for them to book you in the build, they would. They'd come out and watch you guys play live, and it's one of those intangibles that you could really fucking feel it. There was such a love between each band and the genre, and I've talked about this with some other bands as well. I think it's funny that the more hardcore, the heavier the music gets, the more love between the bands there seems to be. Like there's some hardcore bands where it's super, super heavy music, and you watch these guys leave at the end of a fucking set.
Sweaty as all hell.
And they'll hug each other, they'll
Yeah.
be like, yeah man, like, and you're just like, fuck dude, like to the outside, if you're not in that scene, you look at hardcore bands and you're like, fuck dude, you guys, you're not about any of that. But once you get involved, I think it's like, the hardcore alternative scenes, they really look out for each other, man. They have a bond that other genres don't have. Is that fair?
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that from going to plenty of live gigs. It's just like there's just this camaraderie that comes with playing in a heavy band and just like you're playing this like
It's like you've got a common
breakdown
purpose.
music. Yeah, it's like this common
music's
purpose
brought
that's
you together,
united. Yeah,
and you're happy for it. What do you reckon, Davey? Like, what in your exposure of like heavy bands?
Do you have an exposure? Of
Like heavy shit.
I don't really have much exposure with heavy bands, so I don't really. I know what you mean in the sense that all the kids that were very into like super heavy music were always pretty tight with each other. Like all the guys that I knew that were like into fucking death metal from a young age and like really hardcore shit when you were like 15, 14. You're like, I'm really into fucking this stuff.
Metalheads
it's such
Yeah.
a
only listen to metal.
Yeah, those guys were like tight.
Yep.
Always.
It's like think about a niche genre of like
Yeah.
not just metal but specifically like death metal or
And then,
hardcore.
I remember even like if I was walking down the street and like back like in 2007, 2008, like if you're gonna like I wore fucking like chick jeans, like skin tight fucking jeans, like a My Chem shirt, like studded belt with a buckle to the side. But I remember, like, if you walk down the street and you saw someone in like a fucking My Chem shirt,
You kind of go,
you'd give a head nod.
I feel like I connect
literally,
with that
you'd walk down
person.
and be like, yeah,
Yeah.
man, like
I
you
still do
recognize each other.
that.
Yeah, man, fucking A.
Yeah.
Like there is no time when someone wearing a fucking 50 Cent shirt passes someone wearing a fucking Eminem shirt and they're like, yo, dude, nice. Like they're just like they don't. There isn't that kind of mutual respect.
Yeah, you don't really see
Yeah.
that.
No, that's funny. But, do you know, I saw a graphic recently that, like, metal is the most followed genre of music apart from folk music. And that's really
Folk music.
interesting, right? And it's really funny. Actually, pop was second and then folk was third.
What do you mean by followed?
So followed being that the bands that, or the people that listen to metal only listen to metal. So that they follow these artists and
like,
they're super fans.
interesting.
There's the
Specifically,
most
like,
amount of
yeah.
super fans that are into metal and then it's pop. So if you think about the people that can't
Right.
get enough of like Behemoth or can't get enough of fucking, you know, like whatever
Yeah.
the biggest band in metal is, like,
like they-
they idolize these
Yeah.
bands like no one does compared to pop music where young chicks might idolize fucking Katy Perry or, you know, Taylor Swift or something
Right,
like that.
yeah.
Metal actually surpasses that
No
in
shit.
terms of
I'll
the
believe
most.
that.
Yeah, it was pretty dominant. It was extremely dominant.
I can
Metal,
see that in the
yeah.
simple fact of like if you talk to anyone who's into metal, they will like
They'll get
they
a
know-
hard on.
They know like
Straight
a
up. They'll
breakdown.
get a boner straight
history
away.
of the
Yeah.
last
Yeah,
10
correct.
years.
100. And even like, fuck, when like back in the day, if you went to a house party and you're wearing a fucking band shirt and you saw someone else wearing a band shirt, you're like, I know who I'm
I'm
hanging
gonna
out.
talk to
I
this
know who
guy,
I'm
yeah.
hanging out.
This guy's fucking
And it wasn't,
cool.
yeah, it's like, dude, I just don't give a fuck what anyone else is doing. Like, we're gonna have the best chats.
I
about
used
the
to
fucking
love when I would rock up at a house party and there would be some like a punk rock song playing over the studio, over the
Yeah,
speakers, and I'd be
man.
like, "Who the fuck made this? I'm talking about person. Who put this song on?" I would love it. I'd be like, "Fuck! I can't believe this song's playing at this party. I must like someone." How funny!
I've got
Yeah.
one person here that I can talk to.
tunes. Who's that?
Me. Because I put that song on.
Let's get Davey's views on some more stuff.
Alright, shoot, give me some stuff.
Tunes. Tell me what music were you into when you were like 16? And did you ever want to fucking play in a band? Like, were you not allowed? I wasn't allowed to play fucking drums. Like, I wanted to play drums. It was just too loud. They're like, nah, you need to fucking study.
Well,
But
your parents were like, you know.
yeah, like it's loud into like this is just going to be more of a hassle than it is going to be a fucking career choice.
Nah, I had no interest in playing an instrument. I was scarred from getting kicked
Your brother
out
played
in
drums, didn't he?
2003.
Your brother played drums? Badly.
No, okay, no. So
Badly.
my parents would just they would do a thing where they would get like, you know those practice pads where there's like a rubber pad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember those.
So
I have
mum and dad like
Same.
got him one of those when he's like, I want to play the drums. They were like, sure. They got him a practice pad and some sticks, and they were like, when you get good at that,
Yep.
we'll buy you
Great
another
attitude.
drum. He played that shit non-stop for like a year.
Great attitude.
And my parents were like,
Damn it.
well, no, you still...
They would have been spewing. They would have been like, "I thought I would have given up after a month."
Yeah, like... And like, so like, you know, like there's all the different techniques, like the timing when you're doing a drum roll and it's like, you know...
what is
yeah.
it, like
Wait,
pick a diddle?
wait.
Yeah.
Wait, I wanna.
Okay.
You guys understand what
Fuck
it is.
you, alright.
Go,
Sorry.
tell me it.
I don't know what the terms are, okay? So when you
I
drum
fucking
roll
love this.
and one stick you like hit once and then the other stick you hit once and then there's another one where like each stick hits twice. So you go
Yep.
da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, and like there's a whole different set.
There
My
sure
brother
is.
to this day can still do that flawlessly.
Great.
Because that's all he
They're
can
called
fucking do.
rudiments.
Rudiments, there you
What's
go.
a paradiddle?
A paradiddle's right, left, left.
Yeah.
I've actually seen his brother on like there's one of a practice mat or practice whatever the fuck it's called, but it's one of the ones
Practice mat.
where it counts how many you can do in a minute and you can try to beat
Yeah.
it. Rick had it.
Yeah.
I was seeing Jack on that and he fucking destroys it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
awesome.
because
That's the
all he
best
had
set.
was
Yeah.
this little practice mat, and he fucking played the shit out of it.
That's
My
awesome.
parents were like, "All right, we'll get you lessons now," and by lessons, it was like this fucking like 37-year-old, like you know, there's musos out there. There's guys that are talented and they're old and they're fucking cool and they know what they've like had their fucking time and they're like
Yeah.
rad. And then there's just fucking dudes that like learned how to play the drums and never did anything with it, and now like
taught
live in their
straight
parents'
away.
fucking
Yeah.
house still at 37 and just need to find some money.
Like
That was like the teacher, and
Yeah, so not
never
the
got his
best
own
teacher
kit. Never got, and like honestly, I reckon he'd gotten a kit. My parents would have probably like jumped off a bridge, but Jack would be a good drummer at this point.
Yeah, I reckon he would have
There you
really
go.
given it some time.
Yeah, but no, I gave up on music after I got kicked out of the 2003 grade 3 Form 2 recorder duet. I was like,
Guess what year I was in 2003?
I imagine you were 47.
I was in year 10.
Oh shit!
No shit. In 2003, I was 13 and I'd lived in Australia for 3 years at that
like
point.
8 years on me, yeah.
Yeah, so no, I played record. I fucking hated it.
Everyone hated
Everyone
recording.
hates it.
I know, and my parents were like, "You have
I
to get
think
good at
that's
that."
the point. I think the reason why it's the one that it's taught.
I think
one,
it's-
it's super cheap to buy an instrument. Like,
I think
Yeah, that's the main.
but
reason.
it's like if you can be good at that, then you can be good at music. And I think that's the point. Like,
It weans you out from an early age, you
it
reckon?
sure does. Yeah.
When I was in primary
But
school, I
keyboard-
played.
Hot cross
the next.
buns, man. Hot cross buns on that fucking recorder.
Oh yeah, dude. When I was in primary
3,
school,
2, 1.
yeah, we
3,
played this
2,
one that's
1.
Yeah,
one,
that's right.
one
3,
step
2,
worse
2,
than
2,
the
2, 1.
recorder.
He
Yeah.
knows it.
Oh yeah, you. Oh god, yeah. Hot cross buns, hot cross buns. Yeah. I used to play the pianica, which is like the recorder, but it's a fucking little piano box which you have a recorder nozzle that you blow into, and
It's a melodica, isn't it? Isn't it a
I
melodica?
would love to see
The
that.
melodica is a keyboard that you blow
Davey,
into.
yeah, but it's got it's called a
we can get
pianica.
one of
I don't know,
those.
maybe it is a
Yeah.
melodica. I don't know.
Davey,
It's-
if we can
it had a
arrange to get one
hose
of
that you
those.
blow into.
Oh my
It's like a
God,
fucking
what is it
reverse
called?
ball.
Melodica?
I don't know
I'm
what's
not sure.
going on here. Yeah.
Can we try and get one of those on the next time we
The
have
internet.
I'm gonna
Terence
look
on this?
I'm gonna look for one.
I really wanted to play this because that
I'll
seems
play a
magical.
pianica. I don't even know if I remember how to, but it's just like a recorder, but piano keys.
Yeah.
So I guess 2 + 2 = 4. I think I can do it.
That's it.
Yeah, that's
that's
melodica. It's the same thing. You're right. It's exactly the same thing. That's a fucking nightmare. Yeah.
People still play them
Look
in
at
like
that.
that's
is the melodica.
that is played in indie music quite a lot. Indie folk music, like
I've
Lisa
never seen
fucking
them.
what's her
I've
face.
never seen them ever since.
I want to know.
Everyone's playing, dude.
I want to know who invented that. Who sat down and was like, you know what we need to have in
Mr.
the world?
Honer.
Do you know what? I hate playing the piano and I hate playing the recorder, but I want to have somewhere in
Yeah.
between. I want to blow on something and make noise.
I love this.
But with my fingers, yeah.
I love this one.
Yeah,
kind of
so
makes
those
sense.
ones, Davey, those ones you hold up
Yeah,
here.
Y'all have, what, like a flute?
Yes.
That's tremendously
Yep.
stupid.
Yeah.
Isn't it just like, oh yeah, I'll just look at the keys.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be like saxophone style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
No,
like someone did a
no,
whole
no,
heap of acid. What someone played the bagpipes, the keyboard, and the recorder, and put it all into one.
Yeah, stupido.
Yeah.
I need to hear air being blown through a keyboard.
Yeah.
That's what I need.
Yeah.
How does your brain go down that path when that didn't exist before? How do you invent that for nothing?
I have
man.
no fucking idea.
Did they think I can make money off this? Do you reckon that was their thought process?
Yeah. Well,
I think
hopefully.
And they have. So good on them.
Because if
I
they
reckon-
thought
yeah.
I'm gonna improve music with this, they were wrong.
That was
No.
not what they thought. It was more like,
Yeah, but that was-
how do we make a more annoying noise than a piano and
It actually
a
sounds
recorder,
quite
yeah?
pleasant.
Can we please
No,
get
they actually
Davey
don't
on
sound too
this?
bad.
I really think this should be an instrument that Davey learns.
Oh, he has to learn the keyboard first.
I'll learn the guitar. I'll fucking
guitar.
learn the
Yeah.
shit out of the guitar, man.
I mean, it's just a
Learn the
keyboard.
guitar.
You just hold it like.
But you're holding it like a guitar
Yeah, it's
stew.
cool.
Okay,
Sorry.
it's a
Sorry.
guitar.
All right. Sweet. This has been a fucking good episode. I've enjoyed this. I've really enjoyed
Towards the
this.
end,
Yeah, I reckon.
Wrap it up, boys.
let's wrap it up.
Well, what I was going to ask is, seeing as though you're our guest, can you tell us, a little bit more about your band and where
Yeah.
you guys are at?
Plug yourself.
Yeah,
My
plug
band, yeah, I'll plug myself. Yeah, why not? Yeah.
So the name is Suspiria.
Suspiria. That's
You
Suspiria.
guys just dropped a film clip as well?
Yeah, we did. We dropped a film clip for our song Regression. It's Suspiria spelled Suspyria. Not quite like the film or whatever the hell's on the screen right now.
Still wrong. Still wrong.
Yeah, we just dropped a film clip for
Oh god,
our
he's gone too far back.
our title.
RIA.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
RIA. Yeah.
And then, hey,
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man, I took
first,
down there.
that guy?
first, yeah, that's the middle guy with it. Yeah,
Oh,
it looks
look at
like
his hair's
fucking.
different, isn't it?
It looks like
Jesus.
fucking
Fuck,
Twilight.
who's in the left? Is that Mitch?
That's Mitch.
He's
Look
a
at those
beast.
fucking
Big
cannons,
boy.
bro.
Oh
See
yeah,
the
look,
gym?
that 16-inch biceps. Ooh.
But hey, who's
that's
counting? Who's measuring?
Oh, he is, and he told me. No.
All right, so
Yeah.
talk through us where you guys have been, where have you
been.
come from,
we
what
was
style
kinda
of
like-
music, all that
It
sort of
was
shit.
kind of like out of my old band, which kind of Deadfall was the band.
Yep.
Came out of high school. I played for like fucking 3 years or something with these guys, and ended up, or 3 or 4 years, ended up fizzling out after a few lineup changes, a few things, some bullshit happened. I was in a car accident. Actually, I broke my leg and my
No
wrist.
shit,
Thought
damn.
I couldn't play guitar anymore. Had to relearn guitar and everything, and then I just didn't have a lineup at that point, so the band fizzled out. And
No shit. How old were you when you had the accident?
it was about 14 months ago.
Fuck.
Yeah, so just
Damn.
over a year.
You wouldn't even know now, man.
Yeah,
You've
bad.
done
Yeah.
super well for like the recovery.
Yeah, thanks. But yeah, so basically I got through this whole period of transition of like rehabilitation and everything, getting on them TAC payments.
Yeah, can't go without it.
Yeah, I can't go wrong with those. But yeah, and I just hit up some guy, this Mitch actually, off Facebook, and just started jamming with him. Was going to interview him for Deadfall, but ended up Deadfall started fizzling out. So started continuing to write songs and just went from there. We interviewed Bo as a drummer for a bit. He wasn't sure if he could contribute at first, and then a few months down the track, he recontacted us and was like, I'm actually keen to play. My new job's all settled down now, because he was like transitioning work at the time.
Right.
At first, and then I'd already written a couple songs, a few old Deadfall tracks I guess reworked into new material, and it just started taking off from there. We hit up a freelance recording producer that I'd used to record some Deadfall demos that I'd chucked on SoundCloud through DistroKid and all that jazz. And because they'd done pretty well and we'd had a good response from them, that's why I was able to hit up Mitch, and he just we just hooked up. We started jamming. He was really into A Day to Remember and that kind of scene, so that just from that point on started really clicking into the songwriting, and just because I really, music's my main passion. There's nothing else I'm really passionate about. I'm not I wanted to grow up and be I really want to, be a mechanic. I really want to be in a trade. I really want to, be a lawyer, or I want to work in corporate
Music's
and
your
make
thing.
heaps of money. Music's my thing. It's and it was going through the accident I was in was a big scare of possibly not being able to play guitar anymore.
Yeah.
Because as a vocalist, I love vocals.
Is there any lasting ramifications? Is your wrist kind of fucked?
I've got
Into
a mad
everything?
scar. I don't know if you can see, but it's
brutal.
like
No shit.
it's like a big half love heart. So it's like I was carving a love heart in, and I was real sad, and then I sneezed, and then I've just slipped too far. Yeah.
Fucking hell.
So is there still? Do you have any mobility issues?
Oh yeah. So I can kind of I can push it over, but because they had to cut a bit of muscle out, they actually had to remove a length portion of muscle. I have to rebuild that back.
shit.
So I can't quite turn all the way. So that's why I've got a little bit of flexion issues. So I just push into it all the time, and it's actually it was shattered into 11 pieces. The radius. So you have your ulna and your radius. This was in 11 pieces apparently. That's what they said at least. And yeah, they just hammered it back together with pins and nails, and
And here you
good
are.
to go. Yeah.
There you go.
Nice.
Yeah, good to go.
So you would
Well, there you go, bro.
we've listened to your stuff. I hear your vocals coming from Bullet for My Valentine. I told you that the other day.
Yeah, you said that, yeah.
It's nice and clean vocals. There's a bit of heavy stuff. The heavy stuff that your screaming is more high pitched than brutal lows and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
if you like
those
that
fry
sort of
kinda screams, yeah.
higher panicked sort of screaming sounds, then that's probably what you want to go for.
Yep.
The music's pretty. It's not too heavy. I would
Yeah.
say it's pretty melodic.
It's
Yeah.
not super low tune stuff.
it's
It's
good.
more aiming, I guess, at the. I'd like to say Day to Remember, but not quite in that
It's not as poppy.
post-hardcore.
Yeah,
It's not. It's
Yeah.
definitely not as poppy
Yeah.
as Day to Remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more alternative sounding to me.
Yeah.
It's more there's a bit more freeform
It's
sort of
it's
stuff.
like My Chemical Romance with Parkway Drive.
Right.
That's a
There you
fun.
go.
Yeah, there you go. That about sums it.
We can
Yeah.
chuck some shit on for the end, right?
Can we, David?
Can we do that? I don't know. I'm asking you. Don't look at me like that.
We'll see.
We'll find
see.
out. If David
All right.
figures out how to do it, we will throw some
So,
of them on for the end of the
I'm
podcast.
okay with this.
What's your new single called?
It's called Regression. Yeah.
Regression by Suspiria.
By
Check it
Suspiria.
out. It's on
Yep.
Triple J Unearthed. It's on all of your streaming platforms. It's on YouTube.
Yep. Spotify, they've got a clip, and there's a clip for that one out.
Yeah, there's a clip on YouTube and Facebook.
Nice
Perfect,
one, man.
Scope them out.
Well, thanks for joining us
Yeah.
on this podcast. It's been
Absolutely,
fucking
yeah.
And
awesome.
he
No worries.
He hung around for a couple of hours. They rehearsed here fucking earlier. He hung around for fucking ages. while we
Had
got
a
this
beer or
shit together.
two. Played
Yeah.
some pool by myself.
We had to wait for fucking Davey to get his shit together. But nah, just joking.
Nah, it's alright.
Nice. Well, yeah, this has been an awesome podcast. I've had a lot of fun today, so hope you all have had fun listening, and hope it's brought back memories of you guys being in bands when you were younger, because that was
Fuck,
kind of
yeah.
all of the fun memories that
Took me
brought
back.
Yeah, all right. Cheers. We'll see you next time.
Peace.